Hey guys, it's Kyle Thompson here with eXp Realty, bringing you the final market update for February. Today we are going to be covering townhomes. Let's jump right into it. Alright, starting off big picture. Last month we had 21 new listings, 15 new sales. The average list price was $532,178. The average sale price was $514,187. The average sale to list price ratio was 96.6. Average days on market was 64, and we ended the month with an inventory of 56. So if we jump over and take a look at what that means as far as conditions, we have, with the monthly supply of inventory method, 2.37, which puts us firmly into seller's market territory. When using the sales to new listing ratio instead, we come in at 71%, which once again puts us firmly into seller's market territory. I am aware that in March it went right off the chart. Every time I tried to fix it, it kept messing it up, so it stays in. In terms of these two methods, the monthly supply of inventory method is a bit more of like a moving average, and it's a bit slower, less volatile, whereas the sales to new listing ratio captures a lot more real-time information, but it is also prone to giving false readings if the inventory is really high or really low. Speaking of inventory, let's jump over and take a look at the active inventory last month. In January, we broke a 3-month downward trend for new sales with a first spike up since October. We also broke the 4-month downward trend of less inventory coming back on. Expireds remained flat, and the benchmark price was the only trend that continued for the 6th month in a row, falling about $6,400 from $521,200 to $514,800. As always, let's take a look at the 10-year averages to keep these numbers in perspective, starting off with the inventory. So last month, we ended the month with an inventory of 56, which is about 19% below the 10-year average of 69. When we look at new listings instead, we see that so far year to date, we've had 21 new listings, which is about 40% below the 10-year average of 35. I mean, it is only January, but this is the second slowest start in the last decade. Now on to new sales year to date. So far, we've had 15 sales, which is about 35% below the 10-year average of 23. And this is the slowest start that we've had in the last decade. Once again, it's only 1 month, so 1 month doesn't necessarily make a trend, but we are not off to the best start. Now moving on to the sales dashboard, starting off with average sale price. These numbers are measuring year-over-year changes, and when you look at the market as a whole, year-over-year, townhomes have fallen about 8.65% when it comes to price. As you can expect, that means that most areas of town are actually down. As of right now, the most expensive areas of Kamloops are Sun Peaks, Sun Rivers, Juniper, and Topiano, whereas the cheapest areas are Sahali, Brock, North Cam, and Westmont. Now moving on to the sales to list price ratio. The reason why I add this into the market updates is it shows on average how much properties are selling below the list price. So it's essentially a proxy for how much negotiating room buyers have. Last month we came in at 96.6, which is about the middle of the road over the last 12 months. However, as you can see, in November, we hit the bottom there, and then it's been spiking up since, meaning that over the last 3 months, it's becoming increasingly more difficult to negotiate on price. Finally, let's take a look at the sales by sub-area. And again, these numbers are year over year. When we take a look at it by that, we see that overall, we're down about 4.38%, which is only about 13 sales, and that's actually fairly well compared to other segments of the market. Now let's switch gears and take a look at days on market to sell, starting off with the 10-year. So far, it's taken an average of 64 days for townhomes to sell, which is about 19% above the 10-year average of 54. If we look at it at the trailing 12 months instead, we see that once again, it's taken an average of 64 days to sell, which is about 45% above the 12-month average of 45. Finally, let's take a look at the numbers by sub-area. These numbers are measuring year-over-year changes again, and when we look at it that way, we see that townhomes are taking approximately 46% longer to sell increasing from an average days of 31 to 46. The areas of town that are selling the quickest are Dallas, Dufferin, Paul Lake, and Aberdeen, all with an average days on market of 30 days or less, where the areas of town taking the longest to sell are Tobiano, Sun Peaks, and Campbell Creek, averaging between 2 and 3 months. That wraps up this week's video. As always, I hope that you guys are getting some value out of these market updates. If you are, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.